Hello, this is actually a video that is not about food. Last night I decided to go online and I watched a video about what's in my pack if I was going ultra weight backpacking. And on that channel, I actually made it through a couple minutes of the video, but on that channel the guy was basically saying if I was to go lightweight backpacking, here's what I'd bring. And I was like, well, next to my door is a backpack set up for ultra lightweight backpacking. It's not an if, it's a when for me. And so I figured I would share what is in my bag. The other thing that was mentioned on the video was that he kind of mentioned that there was lots of B-roll that he took because he mentioned that his viewers like to see all sorts of details about each one of the products. That is actually something that drives me kind of nuts. I don't want to see a lot of details about the products when I watch something. If I see something intriguing, I get a little piece of advice about it, I'll go do my own research. I don't want to sit through information on 20 things in a backpack. So that's what this is kind of styled after. But apparently people do, since that's why his video will have 50,000 views and this one will have 50. So going right through this backpack somewhat in quick fashion. This is a Zimmer-built backpack. I have a love-hate relationship with this backpack. I love it when it's 10 pounds and under. Don't love it so much when it's 10 pounds and over. And that might not be because of the backpack. That just might be because of my muscles, because this is a ultra lightweight backpack. There's no waist strap on this, so it's going to hang, and maybe my muscles just aren't used to that. I don't backpack enough with it, so I don't want to put that on the backpack. I'll put that on my own problem. But Zimmer built backpack, I love it so far. I love the pockets on the outside, and so far very happy with it. Going on the outside of the pack, this is where I hang my flashlight. So this is a Nightcore flashlight. It's USB rechargeable. Again, I barely use a flashlight when I'm out because I'm generally going to fall asleep when it's dark, wake up when it's light. But I did have to hike out once. I forgot what the reason was, but I did do, I set up camp, and for some reason I had to end up leaving, and I was able to hike out with this little thing with no issues. Of course, the smart water bottle, and if you notice, mine is totally and completely empty because we had so much rain lately that I know for a fact that I could hit water every half hour. And even I came off the trail to do this, and there's a whole pool of water behind me over there that collected. And so I'm probably never going to carry water for the next day, and the only time I might save some water is what would be like the last stop before I pull. I don't do any editing, but apparently there's something wrong with the GoPro and it just cut off. So hopefully where I'm going to start right now is where it cut off. And so I'm not going to bother filling this sucker up with water until the very end of the day and carry that into camp. On the outside, I'm a hammock camper. I'm not one of those barbarians you might hear about that sleep on the ground in tents. I'm never going to go back to a tent as much as I can help it. The quality of sleep I get in a hammock is ridiculous, and I'll often joke with my wife that I think I might just install one in the bedroom because I absolutely love sleeping in the hammock. My hammock is by Humminbird. My straps are by Humminbird. So far, highly recommend it. A lot of hours spent in this, and the straps and the hammock are both super lightweight. I have a video exclusively just on these in more detail if you want to check that out. In this bag, I would have, if I had planned a little bit better, I normally would not have brought this bag with me. I always bring one use of toilet paper, even though I do use a bidet, and I have a whole video on the channel about bidet use if you're interested in that. I do usually will throw in one single day worth of toilet paper just in case I ran out of water or something, but again, for this trip, there's plenty of water, and if I had thought about it, I would have taken that out. I do have this would be the equivalent of my knife. So it's a razor blade with just a piece of duct tape over it. And again, I used to always bring some kind of knife, and after many years of just never ever using one, I decided just to go with the razor blade. It is nice and light. So again, I have the bidet. The other thing that's in the outside here is I have my bear bag rope. This is Lawson bear bag rope. I think I have a video on that also. Good stuff. And I do not have a Sawyer squeeze, but I have a Hydro Blue. And again, there's a video on my channel just about that. I have lost my spoon. I have no idea where I put it. I have a Gossamer Gear bamboo spoon. Somehow it has just disappeared from my backpacking boxes, so I did just throw in a plastic spoon. All right, on the other outside pocket, I have a Frog Tog lightweight raincoat, and this is nothing to do for the rain. There's no chance of rain. I don't know if there's any sky in the back of this video. Actually, I think there's a little bit of sky. It is gorgeous. It's not going to rain. This is just for wind and warmth. Depending where you're hiking today, there are some of these ridges that I'm hiking along where the wind comes up the valley and it's freezing. And then there are some downhills that are just totally on the backside of the mountains and hills that are all in the shade with the wind, and those are freezing. You walk up the other side and you're in the sun and you're sweating. And so this is really just for wind as an extra layer. Instead of bringing a puffy to stay warm, just this one little thin layer is just fine. And that's that. So going into the bag, I have my food bag, and there's nothing fancy about my food bag. This is actually an old Slumberjack sleeping bag stuff sack. Again, I don't have a tent, and it's too cold right now. Go, move. And it's too cold right now to sleep in a tent. And so this is a Keone Shell. I believe it's K-H-I-O-N-E. And so this is basically it's all in one pod. So the bottom of it has down. It's like, your under quilt, but it's attached to the whole pod. And then the inside of it is made with this heat reflective sort of stuff. And so you can stay really warm in it. There is some moisture buildup that occurs if you don't keep the things open. I do not recommend it for the rain. If it was going to rain, I have a Simply Light Designs, fly that I would put over myself. That's weighs practically nothing, but I didn't even bother bringing that today because again, there's no rain. This is nice and cozy, and again, it's nice not having to be bundled up in this weather in a sleeping bag. The other thing I have, just in case it got too cold today, I threw this in. This is the, I don't know how to pronounce it, but a Gizamax sleeping bag. If you've watched any videos on YouTube about going ultralight for cheap or cheap down sleeping bags or what have you, you're gonna see this mentioned. And I kind of go back and forth. I have a down throw for this sort of weather. I have a down throw that I might bring as a little extra insulation in there. But I do like the sleeping bag because I can kind of hook my feet into the bottom of it and it stays put instead of sliding off or going off of my feet. So I think for the little extra weight, and it's, obviously this weighs hardly anything to begin with, it's worth it for me to bring to use inside the hammock. For clothing, I don't have a whole lot of clothing. I do have a pair of long john sort of pants as a base layer, and again, I might throw those on tonight. I'll probably throw them on tonight. I might just throw them on tonight if I'm just kind of sitting on a rock reading or something like that. Actually, I won't be reading because I didn't bring anything to read, but I might throw them on anyway. And I love these things, whatever you call them, wherever you are in the United States. I love these things that can kind of go all different directions, and this is great for at night. It's also great for hiking in the morning when I don't want to put on an extra layer but just need that little bit. And last but not least, the only other thing in my bag is I have a base layer, long sleeve base layer. And again, I also obviously wearing one, and the reason why I brought two is because tomorrow morning it could be, if it's upper 20s, lower 30s, and it's just so windy with one front moving out and another moving in, I might end up wearing both of them as I'm hiking, and I'd rather wear that than a puffy jacket. The other thing that might be interested in is what I'll do with my base layer is I'll buy it always a size down than my regular. So if this is normally, if I'm going to buy an extra large, my base layer is then going to be a large. And so this way it fits tighter against me, and then this fits over it rather than having that big bulky feel. So even those pants that you saw are sized down a bit so that they're tighter rather than all baggy and everything. And this way here I can put this over this layer with no issues whatsoever, and everything just feels a lot better. And that's it. That's everything in my bag. So all together with the food minus the water was about 10 pounds. If you wanted to go just what was my base weight, so your base weight is always going to be minus food, it's going to be minus water. My base weight is somewhere around 6.5 pounds, and again, I didn't throw it on any kind of scale. Before I put in my food in my water bottle, I actually just stepped on my regular bathroom scale with the pack and without, and it was somewhere around 6.5 pounds. So a little bit lighter, a little bit heavier. I'm not going to squabble over the ounces. And that's that. So I'm just going to end it right here. Thanks. If you have any questions about any of the items, please feel free to ask in the comments. Otherwise, again, they're available. You can check out individual reviews on them everywhere across the internet probably. Thanks.